how to get your boyfriend to propose, to commit to you. In the last video, we look at some of the issues that you might be faced with, primarily the fact that you have a great desire to move the relationship forward, perhaps to have a wonderful wedding and move into a secure marital family-like environment where you can have your children in with the security that your husband would be around for probably the rest of your life as you raise a wonderful family together. Now, why is it that men balk? Why is it that men hold off? Why is it that men tend to just seem to be paralyzed and not want to move into that kind of scenario? And we'll look at some of the reasons now. This is not an exhaustive list, but we will just briefly focus on several of them. You know, a lot of men are not necessarily sure. They are with you, but they are not totally sure that you are exactly the one for them. You know, sometimes they are looking at you, looking at your life, and they may see things in your personality, in your character, the way you respond, the way you, just little things, you know, not major things, and they are just looking at these things and they're wondering, do I really want to cope with this for on a permanent basis? Maybe they think that you might be too controlling. They may think that you might be too demanding, too clingy. You might come over as if you're their mom. And at the back of their heads, they love you. They love many aspects of you. But these little niggling traits tend to simmer and sit at the back burner, the back of their minds, and they're wondering whether or not they can handle that on a permanent basis. And there are lots of men like you, they're afraid of making a mistake. You know, what if they commit to you and it turns out to be a tremendous mistake? Or there are some men, like some women, who don't want to commit just in case a better person comes around the corner, and they're looking for the better version of you, their soulmate. You're good enough. Don't worry. You're good enough for them to be with, but maybe you're just not the right person. And maybe if they commit to you today, tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, someone who better fits their fancy shows up. So they're not too sure, and they may be hedging their bets and waiting to see whether or not these problems, that this behavior that they're looking at clears up, or someone better comes along. That's one reason. There is another reason, which is fear. There are a lot of men who are fearful of losing their independence, and like I indicated before, they don't want to be stuck making the wrong decision. They may be a product of divorce. Their parents divorced. They went through a traumatic experience when they are young, and they just don't want to make the same mistake. So again, they're hedging their bets. And there are men who are once bitten, twice shy. They've had a bad experience, and that experience have actually caused them to be very wary, to be very hesitant of going down that road before. Maybe they are divorced. Maybe they've had a bad, huge, messy breakup. And there are some men, I don't know if you've heard of the MGTOW movement, men going their own way. It is an underground movement, primarily on the internet, that is now gaining force, and they're coming into the mainstream, and more men are joining that. And primarily it is really men who have had a very bad acrimonious divorce, and they have lost everything, and they think that women will take them to the cleaners. They've come to the conclusion that marriage isn't worth it, and they are actually setting up forums warning younger men or warning other men not to go down the same route or route of being married, right? So, you know, some men are very fearful of all of this. So they tend not to want to make any kind of commitment, particularly along the area of putting a ring on somebody's finger, signing on the dotted line, saying that I take you to be the one, and creating a contract, a legal contract. In the next couple of videos, we are going to explore some of the others. So don't go away. Stay with us as we look at how to get your boyfriend to propose. And we're looking at some of the reasons men don't propose.